Okay, what'll I start with? How about something like this? Dear friend, greetings from the White Mountains of New Hampshire. I am looking down on the valley of the Conways and looking up at Mount Washington, which was named after the first president of the United States. It sounds like a postcard. Why don't I send a whole bunch of postcards along with a letter? Good idea. Anyway, I'll start right out and explain that the real reason I'm writing this letter is because we had a student council meeting at our high school last Tuesday. Student council is composed of delegates from each of the 4 classes in school, and we talk about things that concern the whole student body. Well, last Tuesday we started talking about the whole world, and Mr. Davidson, our headmaster, said it doesn't make any difference where you live. The way you act toward the rest of the world is very important. Well, that started a big discussion about how we Conway kids could get closer to people around the world. It's okay to call Mr. Davidson Dave. Dave said he could get the addresses of high school students in different parts of the world if we'd volunteer to write letters to them. So I don't know who I'm writing to, and I don't know even what part of the world he lives in. I only know he's a boy, and I sure hope he'll answer my letter right away. What'll I start with? Let's see. Dear friend, my name is Richard French, but everybody calls me Pee-wee, and I'm 14, and I live in Conway, New Hampshire. Funny how you can live in a town all your life and not think of anything to say about it. I mean, anything terrific or amazing. Well, why not just say what it is? Just a plain town with 2,000 population and a bunch of stores and stuff, and the state highway running right through it. Then I could say that Four Corners is the main part of town, and mention the hotel where a lot of city people stay in the summer. Any old day in the summer you can see them rocking on the front porch when they aren't riding around looking at scenery. I almost forgot the scenery. Let's see, what all have we got besides mountains and waterfalls and that stuff? I don't want to sound like a girl writing a lot of words like beautiful and charming. But I better mention that this is the North Country, and in the wintertime we get plenty of cold weather and snow. What if this letter goes to a boy who's never seen real snow? Only pictures of snow. Will he think snow is the same as sugar or salt or something? I'll write that my high school science book says that snow is small crystals of frozen water. Wait a minute. I don't want the boy who gets this letter to think Conway is a playboy town with nothing but scenery. I'd better include the lumber business. I guess this was a lumber town a long time before people noticed it for vacations. Sure, if it wasn't for lumber, I guess there wouldn't be any Conway. Imagine not thinking about lumber with trees all around her. That reminds me, I don't want to forget Mother and Dad and Joyce and Whitey. Starting with Mom, what about her? I'll say she went to the same high school I go to, only she graduated before I was born. She has a job as cashier and secretary at the electric light company, and she also takes care of our house. Our house, that should get in here. White house with 6 rooms and a sun porch that my dad built. Dad can do all kinds of jobs. Fix car engines, plumber, carpenter, electrician. Good, too. Then my little sister, Joy. Joy stands for Joyce. She's kind of cute, sometimes. She's been kidding me about the bawling out I got the other day from Dad. It wasn't a serious bawling out. Dad said I was getting lazy about chopping wood for the kitchen stove, and told me I'd be a better citizen if I started out being a useful member of the family. He wasn't mad at me, but I felt sort of ashamed. Anyway, I won't put that in the letter. Mom says Dad is an old-fashioned homebody, because he likes to read his newspaper and have us all together after supper. I help Joy with her homework, and if I get stuck, Whitey helps me. Whitey's real name is Edwin French, Jr., and he's a senior in high school, a lucky stiff. Mom always practices on the piano, and boy, you always know at our house what the choir is going to sing in church next Sunday. Kids in Italy and France and all those places do the same things I do. Dave said they do. He ought to know. He was all over the map when he was in the Army. He said we shouldn't think we're so different from kids in Egypt and India and all those places, because we're not. And go ahead and write about all the little things you do, and you'll be surprised how much other kids will understand. If I do that, then maybe the boy who writes to me will include all the little things he does. What are some of the little things I do? Well, stuff like chopping wood and taking care of the heating stove in the kitchen. But that's only in cold weather, not in the summer. I'm helping Mom with the dishes and that stuff. Because all those kids at home have to help her around the house so she can keep her office job. I don't mind fooling around with dishes, but if anybody kidded me about being a mama's little helper, it might just haul off and poke somebody. Then there's the backyard. Every time I turn around, the backyard needs me. You never think about how many leaves a tree has until they all fall off. It's a lot. That reminds me. Halloween. All the little kids in our neighborhood running around on Halloween, carrying jack-o'-lanterns and scaring people. They think. Dressing up in old clothes under the rag bag, putting on false faces and going around everybody's house and fooling everybody. You just have to let them think you don't know who they are with their false faces on. Those kids are so darn funny. They guess who they are, they pretend they don't like it. But they do. Little kids sure are comical. I was a little kid once myself, so I must have acted the same way. It's embarrassing just to think about it. Boy, this letter is getting kind of mixed up. What I ought to do is just take a regular day, like Friday, and write about that. After breakfast, Joy and I feed her pony. Then Mother and Dad and Joy and I leave together in the car. Straight up Main Street to Kennett High School, where I get out. Joy gets out next, and then Mother gets out at her office up near Four Corners. And Dad drives a car to the garage where he works. Anyway, I guess that's what happens. I don't see what happens after I get out. School buses come in from all the towns around Conway. And I look for Eddie Ashnault. Eddie's one of my best friends. We play hockey and baseball together. We're not always on the same team, due to the fact that he's from North Conway and I'm from Conway. The two towns are kind of like rivals. Eddie and I have the same classes together every day, starting out with the first period, which is world history. The early Greeks and Romans sure thought of a bunch of the same things we think about now. It's practically a coincidence. I wonder if the boy who gets my letter will tell me what he studies in school. Hope so. Second period Latin. No use explaining what Latin is because everybody knows what it is. Our Latin teacher is also the baseball coach. Maybe I could make a joke out of that. But I don't know what joke. Latin isn't so funny. It's talking it. And the more you study it, the more you realize how much there is to learn. Between third and fourth periods, you can smell lunch cooking in the cafeteria down the basement. Right away, I get hungry. But it's too early to eat, so I go to fourth period. Fourth period civics. Boy, that's special. Joanna Smith sits right across the aisle from me. She read a swell essay to the class the other day, all about how the different kinds of governments work in our democracy. Joanna sure is bright. And then good news. Lunch hour. I eat. Our school has its own cafeteria, and each kid pays 25 cents for hot lunch, and the federal government pays 9 cents. I might mention how the school nurse figures out all our meals so they contain a lot of vitamins and energy. But mostly lunch hour is fun because of eating and talking to Joanna. She and I sit together in the cafeteria practically every day. Joanna and I got to be friends because of a dance at the high school, the freshman ball. I was going to miss it. But Dave told me social life is pretty important. And what about learning to dance and being sociable? Well, I asked Joanna Smith to go to the dance, and right away we were special friends. My mother and Dad were chaperones that night. Eddie Ashnold kept dancing with Joanna. That was okay because he's my friend. I guess Joanna didn't think so much of my footwork. I didn't think it was so terrible. If the boy who gets this letter could see some of our dances, I'll bet he'd wonder what the heck is going on. I wish I could tell him, but I don't know myself. After the freshman ball, I started going to Joanna's house to practice dancing. She said I need a lot of practice. That proves that women are too fussy. One time while we were practicing, Joanna's father heard the music and came in. He's a doctor in Conway. He walked up to me and said, "Pardon me, Mr. French, but I would like to determine whether I still understand the science of dancing." I thought he was kidding, but he actually knew how to dance. Must have learned in college. Well, pretty soon Joanna and I started studying together at her house. Right after we started that, the school newspaper came out and said, "Are Joanna Smith and Pee Wee French a twosome? Only they sure give you a hard time in school if you just look at a girl." We study until 20 of 9. Then I leave, because my dad lays down the law about being home by 9 o'clock, except Friday and Saturday nights. Saturday night is movie night for me. If it just so happens that Joanna wants to see the show, why the two of us go together. We have a special arrangement about the popcorn. One Saturday I buy it, and the next Saturday she buys it. I think I'll ask the boy I'm writing to if he ever eats hot popcorn. Maybe he doesn't eat anything when he goes to the movies. We like the Western pictures, the bang bangs, but we know they aren't real. Heck, there isn't any more rootin', tootin', and shootin'.